You know exactly what it looks like. A giant wooden horse rolled through the gates, packed with soldiers. It's the most famous trick in history, and almost every part of it is wrong. But here's the strange part. The city was real. The war was probably real. It's the horse, the one detail everybody remembers, that historians simply cannot accept. So let's separate what actually happened from what Homer made up. For most of history, people assumed Troy was pure fiction. Then, in 1870, a German businessman named Heinrich Schliemann started digging into a mound in northwest Turkey called Hisarlik. And there, beneath the earth, he found a city. Not one city, 9. Built one on top of another over thousands of years, each one stacked on the ruins of the last. Archaeologists number them. Troy 1 through Troy 9. 2 of them matter for our story. Troy 6, prosperous, with enormous stone walls. And Troy 7, which reused those same walls and shows clear signs of being violently destroyed by fire. And the ground tells a story. Skeletons, stashes of sling bullets, fortifications damaged, repaired, and damaged again. Around 1180 BC, the city stops being lived in altogether. So something happened here. A fortified city controlling the straits between two seas, destroyed by enemy action at roughly the time later Greeks said the Trojan War happened. That much holds up. Which brings us to the horse. And this is where the evidence and the story stop agreeing. Start with the sources. In the Odyssey, the horse gets a passing mention. That's it. The detailed version everyone knows. Sinan, the fake deserter. The priest Lalakun. The soldiers climbing out at midnight. Comes from Virgil, writing in Rome, more than 1,000 years after the war supposedly happened. And you can watch the story grow. A passing line becomes a scene. A scene becomes an epic set piece. Each retelling adds detail the one before it didn't have. That's not how history behaves. That's how legends behave. Here's what nobody has ever found. No wood, no fittings, no horse. In a city that has been excavated for over 150 years, there is not one physical trace of the most famous object in ancient warfare. And think about it practically for a second. You have besieged a city for 10 years. The enemy vanishes overnight, leaving behind an enormous hollow wooden object. Would you take it inside your walls? So what was it? The leading theory is beautifully simple. Bronze Age armies used siege engines, battering rams, protected frames on wheels, and to stop defenders setting them on fire, they covered them in wet animal hides. Very often, horse hides. And ancient armies named their machines after animals. That habit lasted for centuries, so a wooden thing, wrapped in horse skin, that broke open the walls of Troy may well have been called exactly what the story says it was called. The horse, which would mean the Greeks did roll a horse up to the walls of Troy. There just wasn't anybody inside it. There was a battering ram. There's a second theory, and it's stranger. Troy 6 seems to have ended in a catastrophe that dislodged its towers and walls. The signature of an earthquake, not a siege. And in Greek religion, Poseidon is god of the sea. He is also god of horses. And he is god of earthquake. So if an earthquake broke Troy's walls, and the god who breaks the earth is also the god of horses, then the horse in the story might not be a machine at all. It might be a way of saying the gods did it. And there's a third possibility, which is the one I find hardest to shake. Throughout Homer, the Trojans have a standing nickname. They are called the tamers of horses. So when the story says a horse brought down Troy, it may simply be a very old joke about who lost. Now, I want to be straight with you. All three of those are theories. Nobody knows. Anyone who tells you they've solved the Trojan horse is selling something. What we can say is this. There was a city. It sat on a strait worth fighting over. It burned. And several centuries later, people were still singing about how it fell. And here's why the horse won. A battering ram is boring. An earthquake is worse. It means nobody outsmarted anybody. But a hollow horse, full of men, wheeled in by the very people it destroys, that's a story you can't forget. So it outlived the truth. The oldest surviving picture of the horse was made a few centuries after the war. It's on a clay jar from the island of Mykonos, which means by then people already believed it, and the object itself was already gone, if it ever existed at all. 3,000 years later, there's a wooden horse standing in a Turkish town near the ruins, built as a film prop. Tourists photograph it. It is, as far as anyone can prove, the only Trojan horse that has ever actually existed. The walls are real. You can put your hand on them. The fire layer is real. The sling bullets are real. It's the trick, the one thing everybody remembers, that we made up. And we've kept it for 3,000 years because it's better than whatever actually happened. Troy fell. Just not like that. Subscribe for more history told the way it actually happened.